You were always taught a simple rule for survival. Stand tall, spread your arms, look big, grab a weapon, and never turn your back. It makes perfect sense. But if you stumble upon a 600-pound killing machine deep in the forest, the best way to survive violates every human instinct. Close your eyes, lie down, and sleep. Why? Why would total darkness and absolute stillness be the only weapons capable of paralyzing the undisputed king of the jungle? Let us look at them. Panthera tigris, the apex predator of Asia. I know what you are thinking. A tiger sees meat, a tiger eats meat. But that is not how millions of years of evolutionary programming actually work. Ambush predators do not hunt a specific target. They hunt a specific movement. Their brains are incredibly complex organic algorithms designed to recognize a very narrow set of visual triggers. A deer bolting through the underbrush, a boar turning its flank, a primate fleeing in terror. These are the inputs that trigger the ultimate biological software known as prey drive. But what happens when the input does not match the code? You have to understand that the wild is a strict economy of calories and risk. A broken leg for a tiger is a death sentence. Therefore, their hunting sequence is heavily reliant on predictability. They need the prey to act like prey. Their eyes are heavily evolved to detect the slightest lateral movement against a static background. A blade of grass shifting against the wind, the panicked twitch of an ear. Imagine a body lying completely flat on the forest floor. The breathing is steady, slow, rhythmic. There are no frantic twitches. There is no fleeing outline. To the visual cortex of a wild tiger, this motionless shape simply does not register as a meal. It is an anomaly, a glitch in their ancient matrix. Let me put you right in the middle of it. The Sundarbans mangrove forest, bordering India and Bangladesh. The air is thick, damp, suffocating. The canopy completely blocks out the moon. It leaves a darkness so dense you can almost taste the mud and rotting leaves. The mangrove roots twist out of the ground like skeletal fingers. A local honey hunter lies on the muddy floor, fast asleep after a grueling day of foraging. From the shadows, a mature Bengal tiger materializes. No sound, no snapped twigs, just silent, lethal grace moving closer. The predator stands directly over the sleeping man. It analyzes the situation. The tiger is looking for the back of a neck to bite through. It is waiting for the creature to flinch, to scramble, to turn its back and trigger the chase. But the man does nothing. He just breathes. In and out. To the tiger, this is a profound psychological short circuit. The shape smells like blood and bone, yet it behaves like a fallen log. It does not fight. It does not flee. This intense cognitive dissonance floods the tiger with confusion. Is it a trap? Is it diseased? Is it some unknown predator playing dead? Think about the sheer processing power required for a tiger to execute a successful kill. Millions of neurons firing in perfect synchronization, assessing wind direction, calculating the trajectory of a leap, anticipating the evasive maneuvers of a gazelle. All of this computing power is entirely dependent on the prey following the rules of the game. The prey must act terrified. When the sleeping human refuses to play the game, the tiger experiences a fatal error. Nature abhors the unknown, lacking the familiar trigger of a fleeing target. The tiger loses its predatory momentum. The confusion overpowers the hunger. The risk outweighs the reward. And silently, the 600-pound phantom melts back into the wet jungle. They do not attack what they do not understand. Now, do not get me wrong. Tigers are not cowards, but they are extremely calculated risk takers. This brings us to a fascinating quirk of human history, the bipedal stance. When our ancient ancestors descended from the trees and began walking on two legs, they changed the shape of danger. When a human stands upright, we become an evolutionary wildcard. We are a tall, lanky silhouette that looks completely alien in the animal kingdom. We look top-heavy, unpredictable. We have free hands capable of throwing rocks or wielding fire. This upright posture makes us intimidating, but it also makes us highly visible. Researchers studying human and wildlife conflict in the Sundarbans discovered something mind-bending. They noticed that locals who wore simple plastic face masks on the backs of their heads could completely stop tigers from attacking. Why? Because the predator thought it was being watched. The mask simulated a standing, aware, bipedal creature, locked in eye contact. It ruined the ambush. But maintaining that upright, aggressive posture requires massive amounts of energy and focus. It is a bluff, a high-stakes game of evolutionary poker. If the tiger calls your bluff, you die. Because the moment you break that eye contact, the moment your nerve fails and you turn to run, your bipedal silhouette transforms. You go from being an unpredictable, upright threat to a retreating, panicked animal. You trigger the prey drive. Standing up makes you a potential threat. Running makes you a guaranteed meal. But lying flat and sleeping? That is the ultimate evolutionary hack. By removing yourself from the vertical plane, you erase your identity. You are no longer a standing threat challenging their territory. You are no longer a fleeing victim triggering their predatory chase. You simply cease to exist in their hierarchy of violence. You become a biological blind spot. But here is a dirty secret about human survival. The real danger does not begin when the tiger approaches. The real danger begins the exact second you open your eyes. Imagine the sleeping honey hunter waking up to the hot breath of a predator on his face. The illusion shatters instantly. The problem is no longer the tiger. The problem is the human brain. Your modern, highly evolved cerebral cortex panics. It demands immediate action. The brain begins to calculate the odds of survival, and the math is terrifying. Heart rate spikes to 150 beats per minute, eyes wide, pupils dilated. Adrenaline floods your bloodstream like gasoline. You are fighting millions of years of primate evolution that screams at you to climb a tree to escape the monster. You gasp. You thrash. You try to stand up. In that fraction of a second, the cognitive dissonance in the tiger vanishes. The fatal error resolves. The biological blind spot disappears. By reacting, you have just provided the missing data. You have given the predator exactly what it needed to categorize you. You are no longer a confusing, breathing rock. You are a panicked, flailing animal. You scream. You turn. You run. And just like that, the ancient software boots up. The prey drive engages. The human mind, so obsessed with control and self-preservation, essentially signs its own death warrant. Our brains are terrified of vulnerability. We are conditioned to believe that doing something is always better than doing nothing. We want to fight back. We want to flee to safety. We want to take charge of our destiny. But nature does not care about your desire for control. The very instincts that keep you safe in a modern city are the exact instincts that get you killed in the deep forest. The true enemy is not the razor-sharp claws or the crushing bite force of the beast. The true killer is your own desperate, hyperactive mind. A mind that simply cannot accept the ultimate paradox of the wild, that sometimes absolute surrender is the only viable defense strategy. Let us look at what we have become. Our ancestors managed to survive the darkest, most terrifying nights of early history. They did not do it by constantly fighting the natural world. They survived because they knew exactly when to submit to it. Today, we live entirely different lives. We build towering concrete walls to keep the wild out. We carry sophisticated weapons. We lie awake at 3 in the morning, staring at glowing screens, paralyzed by the phantom anxieties of modern existence. We are obsessed with security. We are desperate to control every single variable in our environment, convinced that vigilance is the only way to stay alive. We crave power and dominance so deeply that we have forgotten the oldest lesson of the forest. We forgot the wisdom of the powerless. Sometimes, the only way to beat a killing machine is to close your eyes and sleep.